Let's talk about a problem I bet you've faced. You've written something you are so proud of. I mean, it's brilliant on the page, but the second you try to say it out loud, it just falls flat. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We're talking about how to turn those amazing ideas from the page into a performance, a script that actually connects with people.
Seriously, ever wonder why that happens? You spend hours, maybe days, pouring your heart into a piece of writing. You know the ideas are solid, but then you hit record or step on stage and it just sounds boring, stiff. Why does that genius on the page suddenly lose all its magic in the air?
This right here, this is what I call the writer's dilemma. And the root of the problem is actually pretty simple when you think about it. The content we create for someone's eyes is fundamentally different from the content we create for their ears. They're just two totally different mediums. Let's really break that down. When you're writing for someone to read, you can get away with a lot, right? You can use complex sentences, formal language, dense paragraphs, because the reader is in control. They can pause, they can go back, they can reread a tricky sentence. But when someone's listening, you don't have that luxury. It has to flow. It has to sound like a real conversation, with a tone that pulls them in and holds their attention. A great script feels like a chat, not a textbook.
So, what's the fix? Well, it's not just about trying to read better. Nope. The real solution is to build something completely new from the ground up. We need a different kind of model for our content, and that's what we're calling the spoken style blueprint. It's all about creating a compelling experience for the listener.
Let's zero in on one word here, because it changes everything. Performed. This is a huge mindset shift. You're not just a writer reading words on a page anymore. You are a performer delivering an idea. The goal is to write sentences that actually feel good to say, that have a natural rhythm to them, because if they're easy to say, they'll be easy to hear.
And this quote it nails it, doesn't it? This is what we're aiming for. You want to sound professional? Absolutely. You want to be inspiring. And you definitely want to be engaging. What you don't want is to sound like you're just reading your homework out loud. That powerful, authentic delivery that really connects with people, it always starts with the script.
Okay, so we get the why. We know why a spoken style script is so important. So the next big question is how? How do you actually do it? Let's get practical and look at the key ingredients you're going to need.
First up, let's talk length. For a lot of the educational or motivational content you see out there, especially on platforms like YouTube, there's a real sweet spot, and that's usually somewhere between 15 and 30 minutes. It's just long enough to get deep into a topic, but not so long that you start losing people's attention.
Now, this is probably the most important part of the whole process. You are not just copying and pasting your article into a teleprompter. That's a recipe for disaster. Think of your original writing as the starting point. You need to expand it naturally. What does that mean? It means adding little conversational bridges, breaking up those long, complicated sentences, finding the rhythm. So, for example, something stuffy like the aforementioned data indicates becomes, so what is all this data actually telling us? See the difference?
As you're crafting this new script, keep these 3 words in your mind. They're like your guiding star. Professional just means you sound like you know your stuff. Inspiring means you're connecting the topic to something your audience actually cares about. And engaging, well, that just means it's so interesting they forget they even have a pause button. And finally, let's talk about the last step, the one that separates the good from the truly great. We're talking about the polish. This is where you take your script and make it seamless. This is where the magic really happens for the person on the other end.
So, what does fully polished actually mean in practice? It means every single word has earned its place. There's no filler. There are no awkward phrases. Every sentence serves a purpose. And how do you get there? You read it out loud, over and over and over again. You listen for the clunky parts. You smooth out the rhythm. You trim the fat. All that work is what creates that effortless, powerful experience for your audience.
And here's the payoff for all that effort. When you really commit to crafting a true spoken style script, you're doing more than just improving a piece of content. You're actually transforming yourself. You stop being just a writer reading something, and you become an educator, a motivator. You become a voice that people genuinely want to listen to.
So there you have it. That's the blueprint. It's the path from silent words on a page to a living, breathing performance that can actually make an impact. Now it's your turn. What's that big idea you've been waiting to finally give a real voice to?